What if everything you've been taught about reality was backwards? Have you ever done everything right? Visualized, affirmed, stayed positive, but the life you truly want never arrived? What if the universe wasn't ignoring you? What if you've just been speaking the wrong language? Here's a radical idea. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. And today we're about to unlock the one truth that rewires how you think about manifestation and shifts your entire reality. Welcome to the quantum field. It's not just science fiction. It's your new operating system. Part 1. The mirror that doesn't lie. Have you ever done everything right? You meditated, you visualized, you recited the affirmations with almost religious devotion, you stayed positive, even when everything inside you screamed otherwise. And yet, nothing changed. Not the job, not the relationship, not the money, not the feeling. That same loop. Wake up with hope, go to sleep with frustration, and in between, a constant inner tug of war between who you are and who you're desperately trying to become. If that's you, let me say this clearly. It's not your fault. You've been taught to look in the wrong direction. You've been trying to smile at your reflection, waiting for it to smile back first. But reality doesn't work that way. Not in this universe. Not in the quantum field. Because here's the uncomfortable truth that no one told you. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. The false promise of surface manifestation. Let's rewind. For years, manifestation has been sold as a tool to get what you want. Just say the words. Just hold the image. Just raise your vibration. But beneath all those techniques lies a dangerous assumption that reality is outside of you, that the universe is some vending machine. You press the right buttons and your dream pops out. But what if the universe isn't a machine at all? What if it's a mirror, not just reflecting what you think, but who you're being? And here's the kicker. That mirror doesn't lie. You can say, I am abundant, while still vibrating with scarcity. You can affirm, I am loved, while still carrying the wound of rejection. You can visualize success while your nervous system still whispers, it's not safe to grow. And the mirror, it shows you exactly that. Why the mirror metaphor matters. Let's go deeper with this metaphor, because this is not just poetic, it's literal. In quantum physics, we understand that observation collapses reality. Your thoughts aren't passive, your feelings aren't ornamental, they're instructions. When you observe reality through the lens of lack, fear, doubt, you're instructing the quantum field to reflect that version of reality back to you. In essence, you're looking in the mirror with a frown, then yelling at the reflection to smile. See the problem? The reflection doesn't change first. You do. Who are you being? This question is the gateway to everything. Who are you being? Not what are you doing? Not what are you saying? But what frequency are you inhabiting, moment to moment? Are you being the version of you who trusts, the version of you who knows, the version of you who receives with ease? Or are you still operating from the echo of who you used to be? That's where most people get stuck. They try to manifest a new life while staying emotionally entangled with the old one. They wake up, look around and say, my bank account hasn't changed. My relationship status hasn't changed. My health is still the same. And then they react from fear, from doubt, from control, which reinforces that exact reality. Because the mirror doesn't respond to the request. It responds to the resonance. The internal creates the external, not the other way around. Let's bust a myth right now. You've been told that once things out there change, then you'll feel better. Once you get the job, you'll feel secure. Once you meet the partner, you'll feel loved. Once you hit 6 figures, you'll feel worthy. But quantum mechanics tells a different story. Your external world isn't the cause of your feelings. Your feelings are the cause of your external world. This is not mindset fluff. This is the mechanics of the field. Your emotions are electromagnetic broadcasts. Your beliefs are frequency patterns. Your identity is a blueprint, and the field simply reflects what you emit. So if you keep waiting for proof to feel something new, you'll stay waiting forever because the field won't rearrange until you do. A true story, the entrepreneur who finally let go. Let me tell you a story. There was a client I once worked with, a brilliant entrepreneur. He did everything by the book: vision boards, journaling, gratitude lists. He even built a manifestation morning routine that would put a monk to shame. But nothing was shifting. He was exhausted, frustrated, on the brink of giving up. Until one day he cracked. He sat down, not to visualize but to feel, to ask, not what do I want, but what have I been afraid to feel? And it hit him. He'd been visualizing abundance from a place of fear. Every affirmation was a mask for his panic. Every gratitude list was a plea for rescue. So he stopped. He let the panic rise. He met it, sat with it. He stopped trying to be someone high vibe and started being real. And something shifted. Within 2 weeks, the funding came through. Not because he did it right, but because he finally stopped performing. He let the mirror reflect his truth. And that truth, once coherent, became magnetic. Break the loop. Reverse the sequence. Most of us are trapped in a sequence that looks like this. 1. Wait for evidence. 2. Then allow the emotion. 3. Then try to manifest. That sequence is backwards. In the quantum field, the sequence is 1. Feel the emotion. 2. Become the frequency. 3. Then reality reflects it. It's not linear. It's energetic. And once you switch to this model, you stop being the observer of reality and start being the creator of it. Your brain doesn't know the difference. Here's where science backs this up. Your brain and your nervous system don't know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. If you emotionally embody the version of you who has already arrived, your biology responds. Hormones shift, neural pathways fire. Your subconscious begins reprogramming. This is not fantasy. This is physiological alignment. When you combine elevated emotion with a clear intention, you become a beacon, and the field responds. But I still feel stuck. You might be thinking, I get it, I understand it, but I still feel stuck. I'm trying to shift my energy, but my circumstances are so loud. Here's the thing. The moment you stop trying to escape your current state and start meeting it with compassion, that's when the field starts bending. You don't have to leap from fear to bliss in a single breath, but you can shift from fear to curiosity, from doubt to neutrality, from anxiety to presence. That's how you climb the frequency ladder. One coherent step at a time, because what you resist persists, but what you feel fully transforms. The quantum doesn't reward effort, it reflects frequency. Let me say this as clearly as possible. You don't need to try harder. You don't need to earn your future. You don't need to impress the universe with your rituals. You need to become coherent. When your thoughts, emotions, and body are speaking the same language, you don't need to chase, you simply align. That's when the field begins its orchestration. People call it magic, but it's just physics. The doorway inward. So how do you begin? Not with more technique, not with more hustle. You begin by turning inward. Ask yourself, what am I broadcasting when I'm not trying? What frequency am I sending when I'm simply being? Because the real work doesn't happen during your morning routine. It happens when you're alone in your thoughts, when you're reacting to stress, when you're triggered, when you're asked to trust in the face of uncertainty. That's when the mirror shows its clearest reflection. That's when you collapse a new version of reality. Closing. Thought for part 1. Reality is not something you wait for. It's something you witness into form. But the witness isn't passive. The witness is the creator. So if your life has felt like a loop, if your manifestations feel like broken promises, it's time to turn from the reflection and become the source. Because once you do, the field has no choice but to follow. Would you like me to continue with part 2 next? It's titled Part 2. The quantum field responds to essence, not effort. Let me know, and I'll expand it in the same storytelling-rich, emotionally gripping format. Part 2. The quantum field responds to essence, not effort. You've been told your thoughts create your reality, but what if your state of being creates it even faster? What if the universe isn't responding to what you do, but to the truth of who you are, beneath the mask, beneath the performance? Today we step into the quantum truth that changes everything. The field doesn't reward hard work. It reflects coherence. This isn't about how much you visualize. It's not about how many affirmations you recite. It's not even about how deeply you desire change. It's about your essence, the vibrational fingerprint you carry moment to moment, even when no one's watching. Why effort fails and essence never does? Let's zoom out. Why do some people try everything and still feel stuck? They say the affirmations. They do the journaling. They practice the gratitude, yet nothing moves. Because underneath the doing is fear, desperation, scarcity. And the quantum field? It doesn't respond to the action. It responds to the energy behind the action. That's the game changer. You can't beg your way into abundance. You can't think positive your way into coherence. You become magnetic when your internal state matches what you're calling in. Not when you say the right things, but when you embody them. Essence is frequency, not performance. Your essence is not your personality, not your brand, not your curated social self. Essence is who you are when your nervous system is calm, when your breath is natural, when your heart doesn't have to defend or compete. And that essence carries a frequency. You can be outwardly confident, but vibrate self-doubt. You can appear successful, but emit scarcity. You can smile in public, but carry invisible shame. The quantum field doesn't care about your resume. It listens to your vibration. It's not impressed by appearances. It's attracted to truth. Science meets soul. Why coherence works. Let's bring this back to science. Dr. Joe Dispenza describes this beautifully. When your brain and heart are in coherence, you become a magnet for your desired future. Why? Because in coherence, your body's no longer in survival mode. You're not projecting fear. You're not clinging to control. You're not leaking energy through resistance. Instead, you become a transmitter, a stable, strong signal in a sea of static. That's when the field can finally recognize you. The field is listening beneath the noise. Think of it like tuning a radio. Your future reality, the one where you're thriving, fulfilled, at peace, already exists. It's a frequency. But if you're vibrating from guilt, unworthiness, or stress, you're tuned to the wrong station. You can scream all you want, but the field only responds when you shift your channel. You don't force manifestation. You match it. You don't chase alignment. You become aligned. And once you do, the signal you emit becomes clean, undeniable, and reality mirrors it without delay. The trap of forced positivity. Now let's address a common trap, forced positivity. This is where most people unknowingly short-circuit their manifestations. They slap affirmations on top of unprocessed trauma. They recite, "I am abundant," with a clenched jaw. They visualize freedom while gripping control. But that isn't alignment. That's emotional denial. And the quantum field can feel the distortion. You're not fooling it. Because manifestation isn't about how well you pretend. It's about how deeply you resonate. A true story. The artist who let go of control. Let me share a moment with you. A visual artist struggling for years came to me with a question. Why isn't this working? I believe I'm talented. I'm doing the inner work, but I feel invisible. We dug in, and underneath her daily practices was a hidden fear. What if no one sees me? What if I'm not enough? She wasn't manifesting from essence. She was manifesting from effort. She was chasing external validation instead of collapsing into her truth. So I gave her one challenge. Stop trying to be seen. Start creating as if you already are. She cried, she resisted, but she accepted. And within weeks, a gallery found her work. Within months, her career exploded. Not because she worked harder, but because she stopped performing. She came back into coherence, and the field responded like a tuning fork. Essence versus effort, the real difference. Let's make this practical. Effort-based manifestation looks like, I hope this works. I need to fix my life. I should be more positive. If I do enough, maybe it'll come. Essence-based manifestation feels like, I already am the person who receives this. This is familiar to my energy field. I'm grateful now, not later. I'm not performing, I'm remembering. The first comes from lack, the second comes from alignment, and alignment is magnetic. How to cultivate essence in everyday life. So how do you actually shift into essence? It starts small, quiet, real. Here's a few anchors. 1. Breathe like the version of you who's already arrived. Let your breath teach your nervous system that it's safe to receive. 2. Dress, walk, and speak with emotional congruence. Not fake it, but feel it. 3. Speak to yourself the way your future self would. Not with pressure, but with power. 4. Before any manifestation practice, ask, am I doing this from alignment or anxiety? That one question alone will shift your entire energy. Remember, the goal isn't to add more steps. The goal is to collapse the distance between the you that's wishing and the you that's remembering. The quiet superpower of emotional integrity. We don't talk enough about this. Emotional integrity is the secret sauce. It's when your inner and outer world are in sync. It's when you're no longer saying one thing and feeling another. It's when you don't need to believe harder because you already know. This kind of emotional integrity creates an unmistakable frequency. It's calm, it's grounded, it's still. And that stillness, it's the most magnetic force in the universe because it signals to the field, this being is ready. The field responds to who you're being when you're not trying. This might be the most important truth in the entire series. The quantum field responds to who you're being when no one's looking, when there's no camera, no mantra, no routine, just you and your frequency. You can't schedule coherence. You live it, not perfectly, but honestly, not loudly, but consistently. And in that quiet consistency, something magical begins to unfold. Life rearranges. Opportunities appear. Timelines shift. And the best part? You don't need to earn it. You just need to become it. Closing reflection. Who are you without the effort? Let's end with this reflection. Take a breath and ask yourself, who am I when I'm not trying? Not when you're pushing, proving, performing, but when you're simply being. That version of you, calm, present, certain, that's the one the field recognizes. That's the frequency reality obeys. That's your essence. And when you return to it, you stop chasing outcomes. You start becoming the signal, and the signal always finds its match. Part 3, how you're collapsing reality without realizing it. Every moment, you are collapsing one version of reality into existence. Not consciously, not deliberately, but energetically. Whether you realize it or not, you are a walking decision maker of timelines, your choices, your beliefs, your frequency. They don't just influence your future, they select it. And today, you'll understand exactly how that happens, moment by moment, breath by breath. Because quantum manifestation isn't about getting what you want someday, it's about realizing you've been shaping reality all along. The misunderstood power of observation. Let's begin with something simple but revolutionary. You are the observer, and your observation shapes the observed. In quantum physics, this is known as the observer effect. The moment you focus your awareness on an event, a thought, a belief, you collapse it from infinite probability into one concrete outcome. It's like choosing a scene from an infinite movie reel. You didn't create the scene, you selected it. And that selection, it was based on who you were being in that moment. You are choosing reality with every emotional reaction. Let's break it down further. Your life is made up of recurring loops, and those loops aren't random. They're echoes of past emotional reactions. You feel frustrated, you attract more friction. You feel lack, you see more absence. You feel unworthy, you experience rejection. It's not punishment, it's coherence. Your frequency aligns with that version of the field, so it reflects it right back. This is how reality becomes habitual. You aren't living in the truth. You're living in the version of reality that your energy repeatedly chooses. A story: the man who kept choosing his past. Let me tell you about David. David was brilliant. He had big dreams, a bold heart, but he kept collapsing the same reality over and over. Same job struggles, same love story, different names, same inner story. Nothing ever works out for me. He tried to reframe. He tried to journal. He tried the law of attraction, but nothing changed. Why? Because every morning David woke up and unknowingly asked one question: what version of myself do I expect today? And the answer, subconsciously, was always the same: the one who struggles, the one who survives, the one who's almost enough. That expectation became a frequency. That frequency became his field. And the field, it obeyed. Expectation is a frequency, not a thought. Here's the truth. Your expectations don't live in your head. They live in your vibration. You can think, this will be my breakthrough year. But if your nervous system is still bracing for disappointment, you're collapsing a timeline that matches the bracing, not the hope. This is why so many people feel stuck. They try to think new while feeling old. They want expansion while preparing for contraction. The field doesn't respond to what you're wishing for. It responds to what you're ready to receive. And readiness isn't about desire. It's about emotional congruence. The field is always listening to your baseline state. Let's imagine the quantum field as a vast sea of probabilities. At any moment, every version of you exists. The successful one, the healed one, the confident one, the free one. They're all there, waiting. But which one becomes your reality? The one you feel safe enough to inhabit. This is crucial. Your nervous system must feel safe in order to select a new reality. If not, you'll collapse the familiar, even if it hurts, because the familiar is what feels safe. What you say when you're frustrated is manifestation. 2, every time you say, this always happens to me. Nothing ever works. People don't really see me. I guess I just have bad luck. You're not just venting. You're issuing commands to the quantum field. These aren't casual complaints. They're energetic agreements. The field hears them not as hopes or doubts, but as directives. So the question becomes, what are you unconsciously agreeing to? And more importantly, are you willing to disrupt that agreement? How to collapse a new reality. You don't need to perform magic. You don't need to bend time. You simply need to change what you feel certain about. Start here. 1. Pause before reacting. That's the moment of power. Reacting from the old identity equals collapsing the old timeline. 2. Feel a new emotion. Before anything changes. You don't wait for peace, you bring it. You don't chase validation, you embody worth. 3. Expect surprise, not sameness. When you wake up expecting the unknown, you open yourself to receiving a timeline you've never touched before. This is not wishful thinking, it's quantum recalibration. A story: the woman who collapsed her fear. Let me introduce you to Amara. She was terrified of public speaking. Every time she tried to teach or share her message, her voice shook. She believed, I'm not good at this. I'll mess it up. And guess what? She did, every time, until she did something radical. Before her next event, she closed her eyes. She imagined her future self, poised, passionate, powerful, not pretending, becoming. And for the first time, she didn't try to push the fear away. She made space for it. She whispered, I'm allowed to be afraid and still show up as her. That moment, that was a collapse. She stopped reinforcing the old identity, and a new timeline, quietly, elegantly, took root. By the end of her talk, she was radiant because she didn't fake confidence. She collapsed into coherence. What you resist, you reinforce. Here's a paradox. The more you fight the version of reality you don't want, the more power you give it. Because your resistance is still an energetic selection. You're still tuned to that frequency. The key is non-resistance, not passivity, but conscious witnessing. I see this pattern, I acknowledge it, and now I choose differently. That's how you collapse a new wave into form, not with force, but with presence. How to practice conscious collapsing. Try this for the next 7 days. 1. When something uncomfortable happens, ask, what timeline am I reinforcing by reacting this way? 2. Pause, breathe, then ask, what would the version of me who already has peace do now? 3. Do that, even just a micro step. You don't need to leap into perfection. You just need to interrupt the old script. Every time you feel peace before proof, you collapse a new version of reality. Every time you feel love without needing a reason, you shift timelines. Every time you think a thought you've never believed before, your life starts writing a new chapter. Final reflection. You've been manifesting all along. Let's bring this full circle. You've always been manifesting. Every moment, every choice, every story you told yourself. The only question is, were you manifesting by default or by design? When you begin choosing emotional states not based on your past, but based on who you're becoming, you reclaim the blueprint. You don't wait for reality to shift. You collapse a new one. You don't hope for proof. You become the evidence. And in that moment, reality responds. Part 4. Emotional fluency is the missing key. You've been told to feel good to manifest what you want, but no one ever told you how to feel when everything around you says not to. This is where most people break down. They understand the concepts. They practice the routines. They can say the words, but they don't speak the language of emotional fluency. And in quantum manifestation, that's not just a detail. It's the core mechanism. You don't manifest with thoughts alone. You manifest with your nervous system, with your emotional vocabulary. And unless your body can feel the future, your mind will keep creating the past. What is emotional fluency? Emotional fluency is your ability to feel fully and still choose consciously. It's the art of letting emotions rise without resistance, to understand what you're feeling and why, to stay with discomfort without becoming it. It's not about suppressing pain, and it's not about faking joy. It's about knowing when you're anxious and still choosing presence, when you're triggered and still choosing grace, when you're uncertain and still choosing vision. Emotional fluency means you can hold joy without guilt and grief without shame. It means you're safe to feel. And in that safety, your quantum field starts to rewire. The field doesn't mirror what you say. It mirrors what you feel consistently. You can speak affirmations all day long, but if your baseline state is fear, doubt, or survival, the field isn't listening to your words. It's listening to your emotional set point. Words are decorations. Emotion is the instruction. And here's what most people miss. You don't need to feel positive all the time. You just need to feel honest. Because truth has a frequency, and that frequency is magnetic, while your nervous system is the gateway. Let's talk biology. Your nervous system is scanning every moment for one question. Am I safe? If the answer is no, your body enters survival mode. And in survival, creativity shuts down. Vision collapses, your energy contracts, and the future disappears from your field of awareness. You become hyper-focused on fixing, fighting, or fleeing. This is why people struggle with manifestation. They're trying to build a new reality, while their body is still living in an old threat. A story, the CEO who couldn't feel wealthy. Let me tell you about Lena, a successful CEO. On paper, she had it all. The business, the brand, the money. But inside, constant worry, chronic pressure, a deep fear of losing it all. She couldn't feel wealthy, no matter how much she had, because her emotional blueprint was still coded in scarcity until she learned emotional fluency. Instead of trying to fix the fear, she felt it, gave it a voice, held it like a trembling child, and something shifted. Her nervous system stopped fighting. Her energy softened. Her body began to believe, we're safe here. That's when her manifestations leveled up, not because she earned them, but because her frequency finally matched them. The lie of bypassing now. Let's address a dangerous lie in the manifestation world. Emotional bypassing. It sounds like this. Don't focus on the negative. Just raise your vibration. Ignore fear. It lowers your frequency. Here's the truth. Unfelt emotions don't disappear. They distort your field. They become background noise, jamming your signal. They confuse the universe with mixed messages. You're not attracting what you say you want because your emotional body is still stuck in a past loop. You're vibrating from fear while visualizing love. You're asking for abundance while bracing for collapse. And the field? It doesn't judge, it simply mirrors what it means to be emotionally fluent. Emotional fluency means you feel fear without letting it make decisions. You feel sadness without turning it into a story. You feel joy without clinging to it. It means you stop trying to escape your emotional experience and start learning from it. Because emotions are data. They are the quantum feedback system of your life. If you ignore them, you're flying blind. If you honor them, you start navigating with precision. How to build emotional fluency, step by step. Here's how to begin training your emotional fluency. Step 1. Name it to disarm. It starts by naming what you feel, honestly. Not, I'm fine, but I'm anxious, I'm disappointed, I'm uncertain. Naming your emotion moves it from the limbic brain to the prefrontal cortex, from chaos to clarity. Step 2. Breathe into the feeling. Your breath is a signal. When you breathe slowly and deeply, you're telling your body, this feeling is safe to feel. Stay with the emotion. Don't run. Don't solve. Just breathe. Let the emotion complete its cycle. Step 3. Ask what it's trying to protect. Every difficult emotion is a protector. Fear tries to keep you from risk. Anger tries to restore boundaries. Grief tries to honor loss. Ask it, what are you trying to protect right now? And then thank it, because acknowledgement is a frequency of healing. Step 4. Choose consciously after feeling fully. This is the golden moment. Once you've fully felt the emotion, now choose the next state deliberately, not from repression, but from readiness. I feel fear, but I also feel the courage to move. I feel grief, and I'm still open to joy. I feel scarcity, and I can still remember my abundance. This is mastery. This is magnetism. This is the language the field understands. Reminder, frequency doesn't mean happy. It means honest plus aligned. There's a myth that high vibration means constant bliss. But real high frequency? It's grounded, it's truthful, it's clear. You can cry and be high frequency. You can be uncertain and still be magnetic. What matters is that your inner environment is congruent, that your emotions and your identity are speaking the same language. When they do, the field organizes around you like a symphony tuning to its conductor. A true moment, the mother who chose joy in grief. Let me share a story that changed me. A mother, mourning the loss of her child, sat in silence. I asked her what she needed. She said, I need to feel this grief fully, but not become it forever. So she grieved. Raw, loud, honest. Then she whispered, and now I choose to live in a way that honors her joy. That was not bypassing. That was fluency. She didn't raise her vibration. She deepened it. And in that depth, her healing began. Her energy became a lighthouse. She inspired thousands. Because she didn't run from the storm, she became still within it. The field hears emotional integrity. When your emotional world is honest, your field becomes clear. You're no longer sending mixed signals. You're no longer vibrating yes and no at the same time. And so reality stops hesitating. It responds with precision. This is how you collapse timelines quickly, not with hustle, but with harmony, not by staying high vibe, but by staying authentically aligned. Final reflection, feel it, then choose it. Let's close this part with a simple invitation. Don't just think like your future self. Feel like them, not by skipping over your pain, but by bringing your future self into the room with your pain. Let them talk. Let them coexist. That's how timelines merge. Because emotional fluency doesn't mean you're unaffected. It means you're undistorted. And in that clear channel, the quantum field hears you perfectly. Not eventually, not someday. Now, part 5, you are not the seeker, You are the signal we spend most of our lives seeking. We seek abundance. We seek purpose. We seek love. We seek signs from the universe that we're on the right path. But what if you're not meant to seek anything? What if you're meant to become the signal, the lighthouse, the tuning fork, the origin point of everything you've ever desired? What if manifestation isn't about finding answers out there, but remembering that the field is already responding to you? Not your effort, not your rituals, but your state of being. You don't attract, you align. Let's drop the final illusion. You are not a magnet trying to pull in the life you want. You're a broadcaster, transmitting the frequency of your identity to the field. And the field? It doesn't deliver based on request. It mirrors your coherence. That's the truth. You don't manifest what you hope for. You manifest what you embody. So the question isn't, how do I attract what I want? The question is, who am I being that the field is reflecting right now? When you stop chasing and start aligning, the game changes. You stop being a seeker. You start being a signal. The endless loop of seeking. Let's be honest. Most of us were taught to seek as a default state. Seek love because you feel unlovable. Seek wealth because you feel poor. Seek purpose because you feel lost. But here's what no one told you. The very act of seeking broadcasts lack. To seek is to declare, it's not here. To signal, I am separate from what I want. And the quantum field doesn't deliver based on desire. It delivers based on frequency. Seeking equals lack. Becoming, abundance. A true story, the woman who stopped asking. Let me tell you about Yara. For years she journaled, she vision boarded. She asked, pleaded, begged the universe, just show me a sign. Show me that I'm not alone. Nothing came. Until one day, exhausted, she stopped asking. She stopped doing. And for the first time, she just sat. Not to get something, not to fix anything. She sat in full presence and whispered, I already am who I've been waiting for. That moment, the stillness, that was the signal. 3 days later, she received a message, an unexpected opportunity that became the catalyst for everything, because she finally stopped chasing the sign and became it. Your identity is the tuning fork. You are not attracting your dream life from the outside. You are activating the version of you that already lives it, from the inside. And the fastest way to do that? Embodiment. Start thinking like them, speaking like them, breathing like them, deciding like them, not pretending, not forcing, remembering. Because identity is not created through thought alone. It's created through resonance. You don't need more evidence. You need more alignment. You don't need to become someone else. You need to remember who you already are. Without the fear, you are not becoming, you are revealing. This is the most powerful shift of all. You're not on a journey to become someone different. You're on a journey to shed everything that's not you. The scarcity, the conditioning, the old beliefs passed down from wounded ancestors. Your signal isn't weak. It's just buried under noise. Emotional noise, mental clutter, outdated self-image. But beneath all that, a clear, clean frequency, authentic, magnetic, divine. Your job isn't to amplify the noise, it's to quiet it so your signal can shine through. How to transmit the frequency of your future self. So how do you live this? How do you become the signal practically? Here are 4 simple, powerful shifts. 1. Feel first, then do before action. Ask, what is the frequency I'm transmitting right now? Don't act from fear, act from knowing. Let the feeling precede the manifestation. 2. Stop asking for signs. Become one. Let your presence be the evidence. Let your stillness be the message. When you stop waiting for validation, you start vibrating certainty, and certainty is a frequency that bends timelines. 3. Collapse the identity loop. Every morning ask, what version of me is waking up today? Am I repeating or remembering? Interrupt the pattern. Choose a new emotion and witness a new reality. 4. Trust without proof. This is the ultimate signal, to hold the vibration of completion, before the world gives you permission. To feel whole without the outcome. To feel peace without the payoff. The field responds to that with awe, because it's rare and it's real. A visualization, the signal within, close your eyes. Imagine yourself as a tuning fork, standing in silence. You're not reaching. You're not pleading. You're transmitting. Your very breath is a declaration, I am that. I am already home. Feel the version of you that knows. I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to chase anything. I don't need to wait for evidence. I simply am. And from this beingness, all things unfold. Your frequency writes the blueprint. You are not separate from the universe. You are a fractal of it. When you shift, the field shifts with you. When you become, the field reorganizes to meet you. When your nervous system emits coherence, the people, places, and possibilities entangled with that frequency find you. Not because you hunted them down, but because your signal was clear. You became a lighthouse, and everything that matched your light found its way home. Final reflection, you are the proof. Let's bring this all the way home. You are not here to beg the universe for change. You are here to embody the vibration of change. Not later, not when things improve, not when the signs appear. Now this is the sacred paradox. When you stop needing proof, the universe begins delivering it, not as a reward, but as a reflection. You are not here to seek light. You are here to realize you already are it. And when you radiate that truth, quietly, steadily, consistently, the world doesn't just shift around you, it shifts because of you. You've now walked through 1. The mirror that doesn't lie, how reality reflects your inner state. 2. The quantum field responds to essence, not effort. Why being doing 3. How you're collapsing reality without realizing it. The mechanics of choice. 4. Emotional fluency is the missing key. How to embody coherence. 5. You are not the seeker. You are the signal. Your final becoming. This isn't just information. It's activation. You didn't come here to learn how to manifest. You came to remember who you are before the world convinced you to seek. Now it's time to live it, not later. Now go back to part 1 when you feel doubt. Rewatch part 4 when you feel pain. Let this series become your internal compass. And remember, you are not the one chasing the frequency. You are the one broadcasting it. The moment you trust that, everything begins to change, and it already is.